And now, 8 awkward families you won't believe actually exist. From prejudice cults to insane incest, we take a look at 8 of the most unusual families. Number 8. The Bloody Benders. After the Civil War, the Bender family opened up a general store and inn had all the trappings of your typical family business. Except it was run by cold-blooded murderers. There was Mama Bender, Papa Bender, John Jr., and their daughter Kate, and they lured guests to their humble inn, sat them down in the seat of honor just above a trap door. Then they would bestow the guest with the honor of bashing their brains in and slitting their throats. Some of the killings were robberies, others were just for entertainment purposes. But after a town meeting to discuss a bout of disappearances, the Bender family hightailed it out of Kansas. They didn't get time to clean up beforehand, so the townsfolk found literal bloodbaths left behind and about 10 bodies in shallow graves. The Benders were never found, official hide-and-seek champions of the 1800s. Number 7. Soviet serial killers. It all began with a kindergarten teacher who decided to go where the real money was, in robbery and murder, the old stab and grab routine. Inessa wasn't alone though. She recruited her family, the husband, wife, and her daughter, and a 13-year-old, all helping out in the grim family trade. The family murdered 30 people over a period of 6 years, and their collage of dead, including cops of... The family murdered 30 people over a period of 6 years. Their collage of dead included cops and children. But all good things must come to an end, and the unlikely mob got into a shootout with the police. Both parents were shot, the husband fatally, so they surrendered. The wife, Inessa, told police that she was a gangster by nature, not unlike Coolio, except her gangster's paradise. It's eye gouging and a bullet to the face. There's no drive-by shootings in this Soviet hood. Number 6. The Phelps Family. Deemed America's most hated family, the Phelps family make up a large proportion of the infamous Westboro Baptist Church. Until his death in 2014, the patriarch Fred Phelps was the leader of the church. Picketing funerals of soldiers is their game. They hate the gays, the Jews, the Catholics, the military, and the White House. And it would probably be shorted to list who they don't hate. The Old Testament-style God. And that's really about it. Their kids are dragged along to their protests, and the Westboro propaganda isn't. When asked why they hate gays or what the word even means, they get the same confused look that you'd get if you asked a normal child about their favorite vegetable. Try telling these poor kids that God actually hates figs and not gays. You just can't reason with unreasonable people. Number 5. The Gray Family. The Gray family stayed holed up in their compound in the longest standoff of American history, lasting just shy of 15 years, and all began when cops found plans to blow up a bridge in John Joe's car, along with some high-powered rifles. It's an anarchist picnic in the making. He was charged with 2 felonies and decided to go for the Texan come-and-get-it approach. His entire family were holed up in the family ranch for 15 years, with the youngest grandchild even being born there. They're God-fearing, gun-toting folk, and they ain't having none of your hooey. When the charges against them were eventually dropped, the sheriff said it was because John Joe wasn't worth arresting. That's gotta hurt that achy-breaky heart. Number 4. The Bunker Brothers. The Bunker Brothers migrated from Siam and were the original Siamese twins. After a decade of circus work, the brothers bought a farm and married a pair of sisters. And for a while, the weird clan lived as one happy family, even sharing one giant bed. As gross as that sounds. After a while, though, the sisters had a major spat and demanded to live in separate houses. The sisters scored joint custody of their husbands, where they spent 3 days at one house and 3 days at another. Talk about an awkward sex life. The brothers would end up having 21 children between the two of them, so they must have been doing something right. Number 3. The Hookers. This S&M couple came to an arrangement that was 50 shades of messed up. In 1977, Cameron and Janice Hooker kidnapped a young woman to keep as their slave. Colleen Stan was held captive by these nut jobs for 7 years, where she spent 23 hours a day in a coffin-type box under their bed. Cameron would use her for whipping fetishes because his wife decided she wasn't so into it. He could have mentioned that pre-marriage. After a while, Colleen gained their trust and she became their children's nanny. Talk about new age. Mother, father, babies, and sex slave. And actually, that's pretty old school. Slavery's been around for a while now. Anyway, after years of brainwashing about a malevolent organization called The Company, they had Colleen pretty scared. But the wife had a change of heart about the whole deal and ended up going to the police. She got a plea deal in return for testifying against her husband, because nothing says, "I love you," like testifying against your husband in court. Number 2. The Fritzl Family. The Fritzl family is one you might have heard of. In 2012, it emerged that Fritzl had kept his own daughter imprisoned in a basement for 24 years. He also managed to rape her and fathered 7 children with her. Apparently, the wife had no knowledge of her husband's basement family and assumed that the daughter had run away to be in a cult. But I doubt that the sounds coming from her husband's basement for 24 years were just the wind. Fritzl claimed that she found 3 of the children in their backyard, as if a stork had just decided to drop off some orphans. It was only when one of his incest children had to go to the hospital that the sordid tale came to light. And number 1, the Colt clan incest. The Colt family makes the Fritzls look like a Brady Bunch. Discovered in 2013, even the most seasoned police officers were disgusted by the brand of grotesque that this clan were sporting. The rural compound housed 40 family members, including grandparents, parents, and children, all engaging in some kind of incest. Every single one of them. The grandparents were brother and sister, whose children were all in relationships with each other and their own parents. There were 12 children, and a few were told not to tell any outsiders that their grandfather was also their father. The hillbilly incest farm was not only discovered when a teacher overheard a girl saying that her sister was pregnant, and they didn't know which one of her brothers the father was. The close-knit family lived in a shanty compound of tents and sheds without any running water. Not that any type of water would wash that filth away. Incest is a game the whole family would end up playing. If you like this video, leave a comment and be sure to subscribe. Thanks for watching.